Sunrise. Hi, I'm Nick, former medical doctor turned soul doctor, having healed my lifelong asthma and suicidal depression. And I want to talk again about sunrise, early morning light. This is about not even 7 a.m. here in Port Moody, British Columbia, Canada. So just after sunrise, I've been out here since about 6:15 a.m., which is before sunrise, because this early morning light has extra infrared light, near infrared light, less UVA B light, a little bit of visible spectrum light. And the whole point of this is because there are so many sensors in the body that are sensitive to this. And we've forgotten that sunlight isn't sunlight isn't sunlight. I've been following Dr. Jack Kruse and many others to remember how important sunlight is, but that there are different components. And this sunrise and sunset are so important because it gives us more of this infrared, near infrared light, so important for my circadian rhythm. I've noticed a huge change in my vasopressin, the ability to not have to pee all the time. I used to have to wake up in the middle of the night to pee multiple times during the day, and now I'm like a camel. I can wait 12, 15, 18 hours to pee and then fill up a whole liter at once if I need to, because I have the hormones that are there, the cycles that are there again. I can process carbohydrates, proteins differently because of this as well. And I am able to function with less continuous sleep because all of that was, again, also a fabrication. And I have such a more in-depth solar callus. I have not worn sunglasses or sunscreen now in over a year, which is kind of crazy. I used to love sunglasses, and I used to recently worked with so many doctors of optometry, so I got free sunglasses and I wanted more. And then learning about this and the receptors in the eyes that need all this light, and how we've forgotten that, and how I lived so much of my life with glasses which all had UV protection. I did science projects in UV, and it wasn't wrong, but it was isolated, it was flawed, it was faulty science. And in that fault, I was actually decommissioning my vitamin D receptors, decommissioning the melanin, decommissioning the charge in my body, and my body could only take it for so long. And it's part of the reason that I have so much contrast from feeling so sick, so unwell, especially when I burned out, was suicidally depressed from being in training as a doctor at 30. And at that point, I had the foresight. I was like, I'm going to be dead at 45 if I keep doing this. And now I am 45. I'm living healthier than ever. I'm at almost my ideal body weight of about 135 pounds, around 60 kilograms. I am waking up way earlier than before, waking up without an alarm when I used to be able to sleep into 3 p.m. I have a family now. I have more of a tan now. I've grown up my hair more than ever now. And I'm practicing not being attached to this, like not having any gray hairs. Okay, so what? That's not my greatest purpose, but I am allowing my body to remind me what's important. And then coming back here to Vancouver, as contrasted with Hawaii, it's so much harder to get out in the sunrise. It's so much harder to be here, and I'm waking up more fatigued, more headachy, more dry eyes, and I've had to depend or lean on the enemas more to clear both the food here, the energy here, the EMF here, the density here, than I did when I was in Hawaii. In Hawaii, I actually took breaks and pauses from it and still felt really good because everything had been so optimized outside of it. And I recognize that it's important to keep taking pauses and breaks. And here, I'm going to fast again because I want to do a reset again. But I'm coming back to sunrise. Why is it so important? Well, when you do this, and especially if you're going to go travel somewhere where it's sunny, and you're like, oh, I don't want to use sunscreen all the time, but I also don't want to burn, this helps to build the solar callus. This helps to bring the melanin in faster. This is why there's so much red light therapy now. It's exploding because people are trying to mimic this. And what I really appreciate about Dr. Jack Kruse is like, why mimic it? Why not just get in the real deal? And how do I cut down on the blue light? The phone itself is red light as much as possible, using the devices less, getting out in this more, and then spending a significant amount of time, and I'm right here directly in the sun, getting as much of it in the face, in the eyes as possible, getting up full body exposure. And that's what I'm missing here as well. I was getting naked in the sun because A, I had the time, the space from neighbors, and it was warm enough that I didn't mind getting out naked. And then late at night, having real wood fires. So emulating of this, getting out in the sunset, emulating of this, but get out in the sunrise. And I'm going to keep saying this because I'm recognizing my best summer was the summer I worked at summer camp, Camp Elphinstone, on the Sunshine Coast in British Columbia, back in 2001. I was 21. I finally was able to gain enough weight to my ideal weight. But I played with kids all the time. I was outside all the time. I was in the salt water, the ocean water all the time. I saw much more sunrise or early morning light, at least, because it was important for that. And you had kids waking you up. And then you saw sunset and fires all the time. And I went from not having a tan to more of a tan. I went from having huge amounts of plantar warts on my feet to having none. And I had more vibrancy, more vitality, more aliveness. And that was probably the battery recharge I needed to get through the months of working in Japan as an English teacher, which was terrible for me, and then the years of med schooling. And so I reminded myself, I'm building up my capacity again for what's to come, because we're on the cusp of a major transformation. We're in the middle of crisis. And how to actually step into this decade differently. Part of it is to come back to natural earth medicine, solar medicine. And so I'm going to harp on this sunshine. And I am going to kick my own ass to wake up and get out in the sun, because it's not always easy. It doesn't have to be hard. I have missed more sunrises here, having come back, because it's been, I'm tired, I'm cold, all these things. And yet every time I come up, I feel so much better so quickly, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or today I'm going to aim for about an hour up here. And then I am able to better be in the sun, build up the solar callus, and do it sooner, better, healthier, more vibrant. And if I'm not living the life that I want to live, then why am I trying to tell other people to do the same thing? And as you do this, please comment, please dive into yourself, please listen to yourself, please notice yourself, because we are not all built the same. I'm not saying this is a universally applied concept. This is not medical advice. But you are an N of one. You are your own experiment. And if you're willing to do the work to discover what really serves you, you may find more health than you can imagine. Today I just listened to Jack Muller's, his latest Monday podcast, and he wanted to rap on the increasing rate of cancers, which I'm seeing as well, all these turbo cancers, everything else, all these cancers that are popping up in youthful people, healthy looking people. And if we're not willing to take a look at things differently, step outside the norm, step outside what we've been taught, then we'll forget we didn't understand why it came up for most of us. We don't understand how to actually heal it. So what are you going to step into for yourself? All right, ciao for now.